Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. In this one, we're going to be looking at the deck I'll be playing for Skirmish Season 7. The difference is, with Skirmish Season 7 and all the other Skirmish Season and other Blitz events, is that we have access to one extra card, and we are no longer forced to play all equipment in our arsenal. We can play, or all equipment in our, is it armory? I don't know what they call the sideboard. I know it has an official name. I'm blanking on it right now. But I think it's your armory. You can play whatever you want in your sideboard, pretty much. You don't have to just play equipment, which allows for some decks like Dash to play more than 40 cards, make it harder for them to be fatigued. And it makes it better for Fatigue because they also get to play more than 40 cards. Although luckily, Rhinar does not care, because Rhinar is very simple. He wants to make your opponent unable to block a big attack, and then swing into them and take their life to 0. No amount of blocking is going to stop a Rhinar, so fatigue won't be as much of a problem as some people might think it is. With that intro out of the way, let's talk some more specifics and get on to the equipment. Mandible Claw is the weapon of choice for this deck. We do play 2 copies. For 2 resource, we get to come in for 3, and if we've discarded a card with 6 or more power, they gain go again. Perfect with Blood Rush Bellow, especially when you consider, instead of swinging for an eighth of a hero's max health like they do in Constructed, with the Blood Rush Bellow, they'll be swinging for a fourth, sometimes a third, pretty much forcing your opponent to block these on a Blood Rush Bellow turn and allowing you to do oh so much damage. Mandible Claws also give you a perfect follow-up of any of your go again attacks like your Breakneck Battery or your Pulping, and are perfect chain middle of the chain to any of those go again attacks into something bigger like a swing big. Great off Blood Rush Billows, okay on other turns. Mandible Claw definitely puts in its work in Blitz. The helmet you'll want to be running is the Scowling Flesh Bag. This is a brand new helmet from Dusk Till Dawn. It makes it so you can intimidate on your opponent's turn when you defend with it. Perfect for slowing down big turns, especially in the Blitz format where it's more explosive and hand size really matters. This card can single-handedly save your life and allow you to swing back to your opponent, forcing them to spend cards from hand or straight out killing them. A great card, the best in slot. If you don't own it, you can play Crown of Providence, and you can also play a Hope Merchant's Hood if you own neither, but this is just the best in slot pretty much always. For the chest piece, we're going with the Barkbone Strapping because, plain and simple, Barkbone Strapping is the best choice. Your game won't go 3 turns. For Tunic, if it does, this still can give you more resource. It lets you block and get the resource, and also Hardened Cross Strap is banned. So since we can't play that, Barkbone Strapping is the best choice. As well, it's another type of rolling that we can use with our Gambler's Gloves in case we need it. Obviously, Gambler's Gloves is the best card here. Since we are on Brute, we do roll a lot of dice, especially with our main shoes, the Scabskin Leathers. The best shoe in the game pretty much, gives us 3 extra health, gives us extra action points, especially with a card like a Savage Feast, or even maybe being able to play 2 swing bigs in a turn. It just gives us so much value that Scabskin Leathers have to be a choice that we include for our main deck. There really isn't much to talk specifically about the mainboard equipment, but we do have some sideboard equipment now. Thanks to the new Skirmish rules, we don't have to play all sideboard equipment, so we are just only playing 3. This deck runs 3 Arcane Barrier. Arcane Lantern is here because, I mean, in some matchups, we don't need 2 claws. Mainly the matchups we need Arcane Barrier, so this is a good choice since we really don't want to sub out our chest piece or our gloves in a lot of matchups. And we do have another replacement for our shoes, so it's really just this and the helmet, and we have another helmet that has Arcane Barrier, which is the Skullhorn. This having Arcane Barrier 2 is really big. It lets us get 3 AB with 2 slots, not even 2 meaningful slots since one is a weapon slot and not an actual equipment. Perfect for our arcane damage matchups, lets us block 3 with the blue super duper easily. And the effect isn't bad either, although generally we won't be using it for its effect. Really only the Arcane Barrier 2. The last piece of equipment we are playing is the Beaten Trackers. This is for any deck that we need to be super aggressive into. A deck like, I don't know, anything that we really want to play our cards out super efficiently, we want the Beaten Trackers. Any deck we don't need a block with a ton, maybe a deck like Ninja, not Benji, but Katsu or Fai, we would want the Beaten Trackers so we can guarantee we're going to be more aggressive. Any deck that we really want to guarantee we can play 2 attacks a turn. A deck like Dromai, this could be considered into. Not Prism, because you want the action points more often. A deck like Leviathan, this could be okay. Anything without super strong hit effects you don't need the extra block for. Beaten Trackers are just a good choice. If you did want, you could go with Arcane Barrier shoes as well, since, you know, we do get that extra slot pretty much. This is just a free slot if you only want to play the Scab Skin Leathers, but I do like Beaten Trackers. I think they are pretty useful, and you should be playing a copy, especially alongside, you know, some of these attacks. Sometimes you miss your Wild Ride, or you miss, you know, your Pulping Discard, and you want to guarantee that go again. Moving on to the deck list, we have 2 Alpha Rampage, all 6 Barraging Beatdowns, being 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 blue, 2 red Breakneck Battery, 2 red Pulping, 2 red Savage Feast, 2 Skullcrack, 2 Swing Big, 2 red Wild Ride, 2 Beast Within, 2 Blood Rush Bellow, 2 Pack Call, 2 yellow Riled Up, 2 yellow Savage Swing, 2 yellow Smash Instinct, 2 Clearing Bellow, 2 blue High Roller, 2 Sand Sketch Plan, and 2 blue Wrecker Romp. Taking a look at the numbers, we are playing 10 blues. Obviously, we have to play the Wrecker Romp, being the only blue 6 that Rhinar is able to play. We are playing all of the blue Intimidates because they are good cards we can play in case we need them. Barraging Beatdown is the best because it is a pump. High Roller can have some really nice upside, sometimes giving us a double Intimidate, and Clearing Bellow being the newest addition to this from the Rhinar versus Dorinthia decks is just a 0 cost Intimidate with Go again. A pretty nice tool. The final blue is Sand Sketch Plan, which it's here because it's a Rhinar spec. It's a blue block 3. Sometimes we use it for the gamble effect to try to find a good piece, but it's really here for its blue pitch ability, as well as 2 action points sometimes is pretty nice. Looking at our last pump, since all the pumps except the Barraging Beatdowns are blue, which Barraging Beatdown, super good card. Real quick, this card's really good. You're going to play all of it in Blitz because free Intimidate plus damage is how you win the game so fast. The main pump, Blood Rush Bellow, best card in the deck. If you find these, your win rate goes up by so much. Blood Rush Bellow lets your claws come in for 5, and then you might even still be able to play another attack after. If you have the perfect hand, you can go double claw into a Swing Big for a total of 20 damage coming in at your opponent, making them block at least something. They'll have lost a card from their hand because of Rhinar's Intimidate. Maybe you even threw a pump in there to do more and get another Intimidate. Absolutely perfect card. Peak for Rhinar in this format. Now, looking at all of the attacks, I'm going to start with the yellow attacks since the red attacks are a little more important. Riled Up, Savage Swing, and Smash Instinct are just here because they are just good yellows. I personally really like Riled Up. It gets +1 if you've discarded a 6 cost card. Swing Big is nice because it's 1 resource for 6 with an additional cost of discard, and Smash Instinct just gives you a free Intimidate for playing it. The reason we run these is just for some yellow pitch attacks with 6 power. You don't have to play these. Generally, these are the cards you'll be pitching or wanting to discard. The 2 important ones, however, are Pack Call and Beast Within. Pack Call is really good. It gives us the ability to, when we defend with it, we reveal the top card of our deck. If it's a 6 power, it stays on top. Otherwise, we put it on the bottom. This is good for our Pulping and Wild Ride effects, which draw us a random card and then discard a random card. We generally want that card to be a 6. Pack Call can help confirm it. Since we are Rhinar, we do have some space to block in some situations. This will be a good card to end up blocking with, also from the Rhinar versus Dorinthia decks. And then Beast Within, a card I really don't like playing in Constructed because there are so many situations where this just whiffs and kill you, and in this format there will be so many situations where this whiffs and kills you, but since this is such a fast format, even if this puts you to 1, you can still win the game. You can use this to find an extra attack that's playable. You can hit an Alpha Rampage, a Swing Big, one of your Go Again attacks. Off a Bloodrush Bellow, discarding this can find you an extra card you can use to pitch for your claws or a strong attack you want to play with them. It's so important in this format to play that you kind of just, even if you don't like the card like I do, you kind of just gotta play it because its strength just shows itself in this format so much. Moving on to the red attacks, Wild Ride and Pulping are our draw then discard at random effects. Pulping gets Dominate and Go Again if it's blocked by less than 2 non-equipment cards. This is worse against decks that do play D-Reacts since they can easily stop your Go Again, but against decks that don't play D-Reacts and more aggressive decks, this is super strong, being able to close out games even if you don't have as many Intimidates. Wild Ride, similar, just gets the Go Again guaranteed. These two don't block, which is why I don't play them in Constructed, but as I said, in a format where you need to kill your opponent as fast as possible, these cards definitely shine. Another card I don't play as much in my Constructed Rhinar list is Savage Feast. This is a 1-cost red for 6 with a random discard to play it, and if you discard it a 6, you draw a card. No Go Again, but with the ability of the Beaten Trackers in sideboard and your main board Scab Skin Leathers, this can be an easy way to cycle a card out of your hand that you might not want to be playing, as well as turn on your Mandible Claws and get a free Intimidate. Really good in Blitz, because as I said, you need to kill your opponent as fast as possible. This card replacing itself makes that super easy. The last few attacks in the deck, let's just go over them real quick. These are cards you'll see in most other Rhinar lists. Breakneck Battery is perfect. 2 for 6, discard a random card. If you discard it a 6, gain Go Again. The most basic brute attack, but a perfect addition for any Rhinar deck list. Swing Big, a standard 2 for 8. If they block with it, they get a Quicken token, but they probably blocked with their whole hand, so how are they going to use that Quicken token? Gives you a full 4-card hand back or dealt them 8 damage. Absolutely perfect for the Blitz format. Skullcrack, when we discard it at random, we gain a resource. If we don't discard it at random, it's still a 2 for 6. It's playable. Obviously, we want this to be a discard to gain that extra resource. Let us swing with a Claw off a Go Again attack a lot easier, or even let us play another attack, maybe off discarding it from like a Bloodrush Bellow or something could be absolutely perfect. And then the final card in the main board, Alpha Rampage, just probably the best card in the format. Gets us an Intimidate by itself, gets us an Intimidate off of Rhinar. Perfect if we play it off of a Barraging Beatdown, since that's 3 Intimidates, makes it hard to shut off the beatdown, lets us get in almost 10 damage guaranteed. Absolutely perfect. This is the best card in the format for this deck. But we aren't done. We do have 3 other cards in our sideboard since we are allowed to play 52 cards. We play 2 copies of Reckless Swing. You thought we could play Brute without this card. You really can't. This card's here for matchups that we think are going to be really close, matchups we think we need another blue. Mainly the fatigue matchups or the dominate matchups. Think maybe Azalea. Think Assassins. This could be really good. Just anything D-Reacts are good into. Those fatigue matchups that can sometimes get away from us, we can use Reckless Swing to hit them back down if we ever get an off turn. Even great in racing matchups where putting them to 2 could be a death sentence. Obviously you want this in the deck. Most players will assume you're on at main board and trying to not go to 2. Personally, I don't think it's good enough to be played in the main board, but if you ever are in a situation where you think you need more cards in your deck, this is the perfect add-in. I think the best one you could be playing. And then, finally, a 1 of Arg Smash. It's hard to beat Mechanologist. I think Mechanologist will be pretty strong in this Blitz Skirmish season. So I think 1 Arg Smash is just a good enough inclusion since we only have 1 card slot left. Just break some items. Perfect. Now, that's the whole deck. I think I've explained everything pretty well. So let's just move on to the outro. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I know I am a little late to making a skirmish list when by the time this goes up, Skirmish will be already started, and by the time this goes up, I would have already played in my Skirmish event at my local store. So, luckily, Skirmish is a 2-week season, so anyone with an event during the 2nd week will hopefully be able to pick up this deck and have some fun. I personally find Rhinar a really fun deck to play, and I find it really strong too. Personally, I don't play much Rhinar in the constructed format anymore, but I do like it a ton in these super fast formats like Blitz. So it's definitely one to watch out for. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week when I think we'll start taking a look at some of the heroes who got updates in Dusk Till Dawn.